first. You're going to talk first.
Hello and welcome to our wonderful podcast. I don't know. I'm Kevin.
And I don't know.
He's Sim. Just like the little memory card.
Yeah. Or a yes in Portuguese. If you're
yes?
Portuguese, you know my name.
Portuguese? Portuguese?
Portuguese, yeah.
Portuguese.
Not the poor gays.
No, Portuguese.
Not the Portuguese. Okay, that's how you say it.
But on bump.
Yes. Comedian will be here at 7 p.m. So what are we diving deep into today? This is going to be a good one.
What about love?
What about love?
What about love?
What about love?
Love animates everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, the up, the down, the right, the wrong. It actually asks us to see it from a different perspective.
What do you mean? Love is something? Or love is... I always felt like love was given. Love is like, it's between two entities.
Really? It's given and received. Why would it be just two entities? You mean to tell me that all of this creation, you don't exchange love with beautiful trees, a breeze in the air, beautiful sunset? Isn't that also part of it?
That's true. So you're saying everything is love?
Why not? Why not? If you really think about it, you just look around you and really begin to come to a place of understanding from gratitude that all of this has been given to us as a gift. You know, the rest of it, we interpret it based upon things that happen to us, things that happen to our parents and whoever who sort of identified with us.
Yep.
And shared their wisdom and knowledge of what they understood.
And so, there's different types of love.
Sure.
But there is, the base concept of love, or, I call it the background frequency of love.
Yeah.
I think that took a while for me to get.
So what do you mean, the background frequency of love? Help me understand what you mean.
It's like the base layer that the entire universe is running on.
So is that kind of like the sound of Ohm at 7.84 hertz?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
It's the base, it's the main frequency, and everything layers on top of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful because when you look at sound and you look at vibration, science finally proved, that hum that Mother Nature, that planet Earth creates, is 7.84 hertz. It's Ohm.
That is
sound of creation. I remember when I first entered into the frequency of love, not just human love in the sense that, I love my partner, I love my children, those are all different aspects of love, okay? But when I entered into the first time, I was in Sedona, and I was at a spiritual center, and the spiritual leader said to me, you need to speak to this woman. I just pick it up, I can feel it. It's like, cool, okay, great. So I met her name was Dr. Teresa.
Okay.
And we had a long conversation, and she said, yes, I'm going to come to your house, and, we'll do this workshop or this treatment. I said, cool, okay. And then the day or so before, she says, well, I'm going to bring my husband. Okay, why do we need two people is what's going through my head, and I'm thinking, oh, shit. So, okay. And then I came to the understanding, it's like, yeah, see what happens. I have boundaries. Mm-hmm. I can say yes, no, and if this is kind of off the wall or kind of crazy, I can stop it at any time. It was interesting because she came and she sat down and she talked for probably half an hour, 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. And she's sharing a lot of things that she's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I said, please, it means something to me. Keep going. And she went on and told me about what she was going to do and how they're going to use music and songs and they'll be touching my body and pounding drums and all sorts of things. And I said, okay, I'm in on this. Laid down on the massage table and they began. And what really began to happen was my arms first raised in the air, and I wasn't doing it. It was literally like someone had their hands around my wrist and just lifting my arms. I let go. It's like, okay, you want whatever you want. I'm yours. And then all of a sudden the next movement is what's happening is I can literally feel and sense and see this black energy just being stripped from, particularly in my heart, down through my lower, my sacral, my root chakra, was literally being peeled away. I could literally feel it as visceral as anything that I could share. And then all of a sudden, I went into this sort of spatial realm. Not special, but spatial. And the way that I could see it was in my brain that there was an area here up to the right-hand side of this, and I was in the cosmos. I mean, literally, I was surrounded on several occasions over the years when I've meditated really deeply, or it just really happens. I'm in the cosmos, and I can see the stars, and I can see my part in it in a way. But this was the cosmos were present, and all of a sudden there was this energy, sort of like here, but it was way out there, and I could see that it was like the black hole. And this was before science actually said, black holes really contain everything. They don't suck everything into it and destroy it. Some do, but most of them don't. And I'm allowing this to happen, and they're playing music and drums and chanting and whatever it is, and he's touching me and she's touching me and whatever. And again, I just said I'd let go. And then all of a sudden I entered into this space. And it was the first time I truly understand and I can't put words to it, because even as I do, it takes away from the experience. But the only way that I could explain it was I could feel the presence of creation, and then it came into me as itself. And then it said, the way that I understood it was that it was like a parent to a child that literally said, I don't care what you do. Experience your beingness. I love you. And I just blew wide open into this field of love. And when it happened, it terrified me. I mean, I was like, holy shit. It's like, it has no boundaries. It doesn't care if I'm male or female. So all of the perceptions that I had in this realm just blew wide open into that frequency, into that vibration. And then all of a sudden I felt that I was it. It was me. And then when I came out of it, I was literally in a state of bliss with a brand new understanding of what I thought love was. So love, it's just like the phrases we use when we talk about love. Love is not boastful. Love does not ask for anything. Love simply wants to meet itself, to create, co-creation,
to love.
Bingo. That's why when science says and NASA or whatever, they say that one of the things they have recognized and they have found that the universe is not contracting. It's not staying stationary either. It is continually expanding. It's love. Wants to know itself.
How come it's so difficult to see?
Because we as human beings use a framework and a lens based upon what we've learned. It's like a beautiful saying that was said once I'm not going to go there because I just had a brain fart. But ask me again.
Like, how come it's so difficult to see that frequency of love? I know exactly what you mean, but how come it's like such a...
But you do see it. You see it in many different ways.
Yeah.
What you're asking, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is how do I experience that level of love that blows me open so big that I can see the beauty in everything?
Yeah. Like, how come most people are unaware of that frequency?
Well, because I believe that we have every walk of life on this planet as we speak. That's one of the beauties here.
Yeah.
From that which is an infant to those who, and when you see it, you see an old soul, some young kid gets them on America's Got Talent or whatever it is. They're 9 years old and they pop out an operatic song that you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And how did you learn it? They asked her.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just listened to it once on YouTube. What?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's all walks of life and there's all levels of love, and not everybody is seeking that level of love. It's not their journey.
So you're saying some of us are not meant to see that frequency.
Some of us, I believe, it is not our chosen path.
That sucks.
Why not?
I thought...
Yeah, but why not learn a lot of other things, which is also love, by the way. But how do you know the full scope? That
was kind of my question. Like,
okay.
It's rare to find somebody who understands that everything is love, because we see like love as love. It's happy, it's jolly, it's like feels warm and all this stuff. But love is more than that.
All love is not always happy. There's a redemptive love. There's a love, unrequited love, which can be extremely painful.
Yeah.
But it's another aspect of love. And it blows you open to a perspective that you had not known before. Or I should say, that you were then once again remembering.
But what about things that are like traumatic and like, all the crap that people experience in their life, that we have all this stuff that feels completely the opposite of love. How is that love?
So you mean we're human?
Sure. So
how is it not love? Because every experience we've ever had, no matter how painful, we look at it through a lens and a framework of what we understand. We give it value.
Right.
Okay? We talked about this before. The Tibetans, when someone very, very sacred dies, they put him next to the river. Let the vultures eat it. Other cultures say, let's have a big, huge party. Other cultures say, oh my God, it's very somber.
Let's wear black and
it's okay.
So it's all about how you see it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
if you see everything as love, is that the secret to tuning into that frequency of love? Is just seeing everything as love?
We're still human, and our perception of love. I mean, I'll talk about mine. I have a whole different perspective of love than what I did 20 years ago, than what I did 10 years ago.
And when did that thing happen to you, the story that you said?
That happened to me about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Is when it happened with Dr. Teresa and her husband. And it changed my world, my perspective, because we can always talk about something until the cows come home or you turn purple, whichever happens first. But until you actually feel, taste, and touch that experience, you will truly not know it. Okay? Although it's inside of you.
Of course.
It's inside of you.
Yeah, until you feel it, you don't know it.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I believe that's the portal, the gateway for most of us now.
Yeah, so like for me, it happened on psychedelics.
Yeah.
Like most of my spiritual journey, it happened to me on psychedelics.
Yeah.
And it was literally like, it was the first time that I actually left my body in a way that I became non-physical. I've done many things before where you get to experience extra dimensionality.
Yeah.
But this was like, I became non-physical. And then I could only feel what I can only describe as the universal frequency of love.
Based on what you've learned.
Sure.
Okay.
But when I came back, as I was coming back into the body, the understanding, because I had questions, like I went into it with like lively questions.
Sure.
And the answer just came back, which one leads towards love?
Which one what?
Like,
which,
as I had a question, I was like, should I do this? Should I do that? They're like, which one is...
It's all love.
It's all love, but they it came back as like, make the decision that feels like it's increasing the amount of love in your life.
Yeah.
And then it shifted, like, no, not just like love, not like love for humans, just love.
Love ultimately wants us to go beyond the physical and emotional. Okay? Even though we're human and these are aspects of us that we can sort of tap into it, eventually, I believe true enlightenment or true awakened state doesn't mean you have to leave this planet. It simply means you enter into that state of frequency, that state of knowing that you're it. That everything that happens is a gift.
Everything that happens is love.
Everything. Now that doesn't mean that I'm telling you that if there is injustice in terms of what you perceive, that you don't speak up or you do something.
Yeah.
But some ascended masters, that doesn't even exist. They just see it. It is what it is. It's part of the drama. It's part of the Shakespearean play.
That's tough. It's tough to realize that some of us came here for that.
Sure. Because we're human. And as I mentioned, some of us, it's not our journey. It's not our journey this lifetime. We're here to make, some people are here to make shitloads of money. Some people are here to enter into fame. Many, many different things.
Yep.
Is that love? Absolutely. Why not?
So what's your journey?
What is my what?
What's your journey here?
What's my, oh God, I've had many.
What's your mission?
My mission here?
Yeah, or at least what have you been shown, or what have you been guided towards?
God, I could sit here for hours telling you that kind of stuff.
Well, we got a couple.
But what I'll share with you is when I first realized that as an individual and as a collective, when just a small percentage of us tap into that field of energy, it can shift this whole dimension. everything, the good, the evil, whatever people perceive, into this, I don't want to say a state of euphoria, but heaven on earth. I mean, that's really being overused right now as well. But it takes us into a whole nother realm. And when it happened to me, I'll share. See, because all of these things happened for me incrementally. It wasn't, some of them were moments of grace, some of them were extremely painful. But when I got to look back at them, I really understood how loved I was in order to have had those experiences, so that I could see it from so many different perspectives. But it was when it was 9/11, 10 years ago. Okay? The World Trade Center's going down.
Wait, 20 years ago.
Or 20 years ago, that's what I meant. 20 years. It was 2001, 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago. Wow, it's just like flown by.
I know.
I have my suitcase in my hand, so does my wife, and we're going to the airport.
Yeah.
Her mother calls and said, "You guys aren't going anywhere. Turn on TV." Okay. So we turn on the TV, and boom, there goes the first airplane. The first airplane already hit. Boom, there goes the second one we're watching, and it's like, holy shit. What I knew prior to that event, I always knew that love could shift this world that fast. How did I know that? There are couple of pieces that I'd had. One was what's called the Schumann frequency. I'd known about this for years, even before that. That it's the measurement. Basically, what they started off with is 7.84, which is ohm, the hertz. They actually developed Schumann frequency, or Schumann box. It was actually invented before being used in a spaceship that we sent out into orbit, that actually emitted that 7.84 hertz, because the body needed that. Our nervous system recognized that as keeping us kind of safe and stable. Okay? So I knew that this was going on for some time. And there were a number of us that were talking about it. And that second plane hit. And then all of a sudden, I watched the Schumann frequency, and oh my God, it spiked. It was an anomaly. It had been steady since the 50s. And all of a sudden, it just... And all of a sudden, it hit me. What did I see around the world for the first 24 and 48 hours? I saw everywhere in the world going, oh my God, their heart, empathy, compassion went out to the United States. Like, what happened? Oh my God, the world's coming to an end, kind of a thing. Everybody opened their hearts. And then what happened, a few days into it, it's these crazy, whatever it is. I don't even want to go into it. These crazy people that are trying to, whatever. But in that moment, I understood what that meant. That anomaly was the period of time that most human beings opened their heart. The frequency of what?
Love.
Yeah. And it allowed that frequency to become an anomaly. Where now, when we talk about it and you look at it right now, it's been going 13, 14, even higher, doubling and tripling. When does it do it? Around very, very sacred holidays like Easter and other events, where what are people experiencing? Love. Yes? So in that moment, when I saw that, I knew in that moment that if we hold the frequency of love, we can shift and create whatever it is we want to create.
So even these things that... Sorry, go on.
And I'm going to share one other thing.
Yeah.
It just happened to me the other night. And it was interesting because after I did it, was it an act of love? Was it an act of creation? Whatever. But after this happened to me, the very next day, I was listening to someone talk about it. It's when we hold this place of innocence that we can change this universe, even clouds.
Wait, what do you mean, hold this place of innocence?
Hold this place of love and innocence. Love, the love that I'm talking about, it comes from a place of innocence. That love that I'm talking about doesn't have an agenda. It's like, I'm going to destroy you because you're not love. It just says, it opens its arms and says, experience it. It's like what God said to me when I had a channeling. If it's not life-giving, just go in another direction. It taught you something. But back to what I was talking about. What was I talking about? It was something that I wanted to share. I was kind of get ahead of myself.
It was a moment that you wanted to share.
Yeah. Shit. I mean, darn.
It's gone.
Yeah, it'll be back.
Oh
It'll
no,
be
we
back.
can say shit all we want. No
Nah,
problem. They
yeah,
won't
it's okay.
pick it up. If we type it, apparently YouTube gets really angry.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it's in written form.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what was it? Yeah, there was a really important point here. Okay. Oh, it was weird. I was talking about the World Trade Center and the frequency of love, that we can shift this whole dimension. Yeah, for some reason doesn't want me to share it.
So even these things that we see as these traumatic times, like today, we're going through a massive
Clearing?
traumatic event,
Yeah.
globally speaking.
Traumatic to some people.
Sure, right, and we see it as kind of a dark, evil
Yeah.
thing going on. Some people do, some people don't.
Yeah.
But the fact that it increases the frequency of love, or increases the expression of, or the feeling of love that's being felt by people, that in and of itself creates a change,
Yeah.
separate from the actual kind of
Yeah.
deeds that we do in this reality.
But oftentimes what it does is it strips us of what we know and believe before we can enter that.
Do you think that's why it's happening in the first place?
Oh, there's no question in my mind. It's like when I went through my near-death experience and spent a year in what I call hell. Now looking back, I understand why I had to do that.
Why?
Because I really wanted to know in this reality, in this dimension, what is the wholeness here? What is it all about? And this is, again, through my own lenses. It's like the divine masculine and feminine. It's like what I shared with in another podcast, how in the 9 pages of channeling I wrote, and God said, I am you, you are me. I know myself through you, as me, as myself, as you. You think I'm omnipotent, I'm omnipotent, and I'm all of these things. I am. But I know that through that which I create, that which is love, which is sent out. Okay, so that's our connection to the whole.
Yeah.
Am I the absolute essence of that? I'm an aspect of it,
Yeah.
of that creation. And then, interestingly enough, I'm writing my next book entitled See. And for those people who have eyes, they'll see. Those who have ears will hear. I didn't know why I was writing this book. I didn't know the overall nature of it until I got about 30, 40 pages into writing. And it's like, oh my God. And I realized that it's about the Divine Mother. And it's about the Divine Feminine, and it's all of that. And I'm about 30, 40 pages into it, and I'm writing, and all of a sudden I'm blown wide open. Oh my God, I'm seeing the deeper levels of the Divine Feminine, Mother Nature, all of the things that I had seen in my life, whether it's Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, how they've all come to me, how all of the women who have come into my life have given me the opportunity to hold the space together with me and with them to see those aspects within myself. And I was writing, it was just the other day, and I was writing the Ho'oponopono prayer, and I mean, I was blown wide open. I could see, and I knew in that moment why I was writing this book. It's about the Divine Feminine, which is also an aspect of the whole, because God said initially it's the masculine. And then God said, no, go beyond me. Go beyond the physical and the emotional. That's what you seek. So I'm writing this Ho'oponopono prayer, and I've said it 1,000,000 times. I've worked with thousands of people in cacao ceremonies and whatever with it, and it's always had a very profound meaning to me. But this just took me to a whole new level. And as I type the words, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I wrote the words, I typed the words, and I can feel Mother, I can feel her presence, I can feel this divine nature. And I typed the words, I love you. And spell check had not worked the whole time I've been typing for 3-4 hours. And all of a sudden, auto spell came up and said, self, love yourself. And then I heard in this field of energy, and go beyond that as well. And I'm just like, so to me, that's love. Love, depending upon where we are, we will see it in different ways. And I truly believe that Will some of us leave this plane, this dimension, this matrix? Yes, I believe so. Because we've understood, we've entered back into the knowing how beautiful, and we've learned what we needed to learn and to experience love in many different aspects, many different ways. And then I believe that we will return to either another dimension, back home. But these are all things that I know experientially, that I believe based on my own experiences. So, and what I really have come to understand, even as the Divine Mother, the Divine Feminine, just came through me, as her, I was given another glimpse into this reality, how much love is present.
You just have to be the one to see it.
Yeah. And the only way, not the only way, there's a couple of ways, and I know I've said this before, is by a moment of divine grace, which was what that was. That field of energy opened and said, I'm going to hold this. Do you want to step into it? And the other is, like a moment of grace, but it's about surrender. It is about when you enter into that pain, knowing that it has a purpose, and that you really allow yourself to surrender to it and to see its wisdom. Now, it doesn't mean you stay in the pain. That's suffering. Okay? And I also believe beyond that, that we are now coming into a time where we don't have to experience that kind of suffering individually, but we are collectively right now and individually, because I believe it is our next stage of evolution into love.
So does that mean that you believe that we should be surrendering to what's going on right now in the world?
Nope. And I said it earlier. I said that if you follow the frequency of love, you follow that nature within you, that you do the next thing that you think, that you feel is life-giving. Like, for instance, if I were out on the road and I saw some person beating up a child, would I just go, it's all God's work? Hell no. I'd stop and say, what the hell are you doing? Because in essence, you're beating me up. We're all connected. We're all connected.
We're all one,
Yeah. It's like I would stop and say, what's going on? And you can take a school of thought or a mindset, well, this guy's an absolute crazy man. Kill him or hang him. It's like, okay, that's one aspect. Or you can ask the question, what does he need?
Love.
Bingo. And, but this can go down a whole million different ways, but ultimately, we're here to see this all as a gift. And like with what's going on in the world, it's like when Mother came to me in the divine nature, she said, because I was holding that, well, what do I do in the world? There's so much shit going on, and this is all what dialogue that's going on within me. And Mother said, let it go.
Just let it go.
It's all as it should be.
But so you have been told about stuff. I know you mentioned multiple times where you were told that stuff would happen.
Yeah,
First of all, tell me that.
I was told 10 years ago.
How? When did it happen? Like what happened? And what were you told?
I was told 10 years ago when I was deep in meditation, and Archangel Gabriel came present. I mean, it's full on. I could feel that. I was in what's called an ecstatic state. I was blown wide open. I wasn't me. I was an aspect of that energy. I felt my wings these wings coming out of the back of my back, and I felt my heart, literally this field of energy just filling the rest of the room. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening here? I said, I'm yours. What do you want? And Archangel Gabriel said, it's me. And I said, okay, what do you want? Oh, what's my part? How do I navigate this? So eventually it led me to a whole number of experiences that took me into a deeper knowing, what love was from a different perspective.
But what were you told?
Oh, so that was happening. And then I was also in a meditation, and I got a very, very clear, just as clear as could be, as much as I'm sitting here looking at you. It was lucid dreaming, and it was this vision. And it wasn't the first time it happened, but this was the first time it really stuck. there was an avatar that was standing in front of me in this big blue dome. And I could literally see beings from all over other universes. And this was one of a number of things that were happening. A whole number of series of events happened. And it had to do with Grandfather Morning Owl, who had been my teacher for a number of years, who picked up a stone in Australia when he was with the Aboriginals. And he said, well, this is where the portal is. This is where you can travel. And the elder's like, how did you know that? He said, I could feel it with my heart. And they said, you're absolutely correct. And they gave him things that you don't get unless you're, somebody that really touched them. So I was in this space, and this avatar was standing in front of me in this big, big blue dome. And by the way, that stone that I referred to, Grandfather had, and he picked it up right before he saw the portal in Australia. And he heard that rock say, do not leave me behind. Pick me up and take me with you. So he did. And this was at the time I was at his house, and he said, here, put this in your hand. Don't look at it. Close your hands. See what you feel. I don't feel anything. It just feels like a rock. Something. He goes, let me share with you what's happened to about 5 other people that have touched that. 2 of them were NASA scientists. One was this, that, and the other. And like 3 of them astral traveled, and they went back to their home where they came from in the celestial stars. 2 of them started sobbing and crying, and one looked at Grandfather and said, I get to go home now, don't I? And this is a grown man. Yeah. And so all this is happening, and I'm trying to wrap my head around it because I'm just like, holy shit, I don't know how to, my old world of thinking was just like, and this avatar standing in front of me, and another in this lucid dream. And I looked at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm in this blue dome, and all these, it's like a way station. It's like an airport for the universe. And he looked at me, and he said, don't be upset. He said, there will be billions of people who die on planet Earth, and it's not going to be far from now. And he said, do not become attached to the sadness and sorrow. It's all part of the program. It's all part of the plan. From a universal point of view, not just a myopic Earth point of view. And at first I'm just like, holy shit, I could feel what he was telling me. And then he told me who I was, and I'm not even going to say that here. I'm not even going to speak the words, and there's a reason. Who he told me who I was. And then I had to digest this stuff. So this was back in 2010, 10 years ago. It was the first time. Whole series of events came where I'm trying to understand who this is. And to the Hopi, he's called the great Pahana. He's the long-haired blonde that came from the stars. They call him the star people.
Okay.
And that's where they believe, the same as the Aboriginal, every indigenous culture knows that they've been star-seeded.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so he says, so I'm told this, and I'm holding this for like 8 years. Or probably, well, it was back in 2010. That's when it happened, 11 years ago. And then all of a sudden it came again in 2007. After I'd had my near-death experience, they came to me again. And then 6 years ago, before I came to Bali, they came to me and said, it's time to go to Bali. But this didn't happen until I'd had my horse accident. I was in bed for 3 months thinking I'm leaving the world again because it was just such trauma to my body. I was like, okay, I'm ready to go home. I can go home now. Okay, cool. I did my part. And then basically Spirit said, no, not done yet.
No, you got things to do.
Yeah, there's things to do. So I said, okay. And so I meditated into the pain because I couldn't get rid of it. 5 trips to the ER. The pain wouldn't go away. So what I know now is meditate into it. What do you want? What am I not seeing? Help me understand.
So they told you that this was going to happen.
Yeah. So 6 years prior to coming to Bali, they said, it's time to go now. And I resisted it, and that's when the horse fell on me, and I just, come on, really? I got beautiful horses, I have this great house, I'm really settled in again. Can I just have this? It's like, no. It's like, okay. So once again, in a very short period of time, I'd come to Bali and left 3 times and went back to Sedona in Australia because they also said, your family is coming again. You have to meet them. It is all part of what's to happen. So basically, twice I was told what was going to happen and when it was going to happen. For several years at the pyramids where I played, do sound healing, I used to do intros and I would talk a little bit about it. And some people are like, you're just freaking crazy. I mean, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I'm just sharing with what came through me.
Yeah.
And I know when this energy moves through me and this wisdom and this knowledge, I need to share it. And I know when not to share it oftentimes. And so I did on several occasions. I would share it and people say, oh my God, what's going to really happen? You know, it's also the prophecy that the indigenous cultures had, Native Americans, first indigenous people. You know, this is time of the clearing, the purification, the Kali Yuga is ending, all of these things. Okay? So, you know, I would be telling people, it's like, be prepared. The beginning of 2020, it's all about, what does an ophthalmologist or an optometrist tell you if your vision is perfect? 2020. I knew in the first beginning of 2020, some shit was going to hit the world fan. And it did. And it's now, I believe, it's very close. It's already started. That there will be many sentient beings, people that will leave this planet. And from a human perspective, from a physical perspective, it's tragic on one level because we love them. We love our physicality. But if we look at it from a bigger scope, a bigger picture, we're being asked, first and foremost, what kind of a world do we want to really create? You now have a choice, a conscious choice. And it was also said in scriptures 2,500 years ago, it was written and Jesus basically said, this is going to come once more in 2,500 years. The reason why it didn't stick then, there wasn't a social media network. He had to travel from village to village. Where now, like we talked about, it's this instantaneous. We've got the information, and now we know we don't even need that to shift this perspective. All we have to know is that we have the ability, and I know I was going to share with you. I know what it was. The other night I'm sitting on my rooftop here in Ubud. And I could feel I was in that field of innocence. And I looked up and I said, you know, I really wanted to see the stars. And you know what I did? I went like this. Can I see the stars? It was full of clouds. And then all of a sudden, about a nanosecond or two, they parted. In this sphere that I literally, from my heart, I said, I would really love to see the stars. They were there they were. And out of this sense of gratitude and love, and I was in tears. I said, thank you. And all of a sudden it closed back up again. Like this, instantaneously. And the next day, the very next day, I was listening to a spiritual speaker, sharing something. He shared exactly what had happened. He said, if we enter into the innocence of a childlike nature, that's why children can create things. They aren't programmed to believe all of this stuff that we've been programmed. They're still of the innocence. And he said specifically, they can even look at the clouds and part them. And I just, holy cow. And what are the chances of that entering into my realm after it happened to me 12 hours earlier?
Of course.
I mean, again, what a gift. It's available to all of us. But we will not all choose it because it's not our journey.
But just the fact that all this is happening the way that it's happening, that's even a gift.
There's no question in my mind. It's like I said, everything that's ever happened to me, I mean, good, bad, the ugly, the painful, and suffering, I was given a moment of grace to see it all. About a year ago, during an interview, that I blew wide open. And like I said, I saw how much love was present, that I was able to see it from so many different perspectives. And in that moment, it even solidified it again once more, that all of this is a gift. How do we view it? How do we navigate it? How do we enter into it?
Mm-hmm. That's really difficult for a lot of people to hear. That, like,
Yeah,
you just
was for me too.
yeah, and you're like, the billions will die, and it's a gift.
Yeah, because what I was told is that this is simply a physical apparatus that was given to us to be in this dimension, this reality.
Yeah.
Okay. That part that animates us, that is connected to creation, can never die. Can never die. It can shift its energy. It can create something else. It can enter into something else. But it doesn't mean that this is any less important.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So yeah. And and then we'll let you get that. So another thought is that I've had, and I don't, it's just my own interpretation, is what if those folks chose, even though it's unbeknownst to them, they chose to leave so that they then could release the love that they were holding to the rest, to shift this realm of reality.
So would that be like they signed up for a soul contract that they were supposed to leave at that time?
Why not?
That makes a lot of sense.
Why not? I mean, that's what I believe today. That's what I sense.
Yeah.
Is a truth through my own lens, through my own experiences. And then again, if that's really true, what I believe it is today for me is, wow, what a sacrifice they have given from a place of love.
Yeah. That's huge. So wait. So 10 years ago you were told that. Were you told anything again? Did they give you like updates?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, I could talk about this forever. This is what I'm writing about in my book, C. It's here in Bali. I'll give you just one or two. Doing sound healing. By the way, sound and vibration is the origins of everything.
Of course. Yeah.
Even before the spoken word, it was music. It was harmonics.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll just give you a simple example. I was literally shown and told what was going to happen. And even at the pyramids of where I was playing and still am, I was shown things and told that there will be shafts of light, there will be particular colors, there will be things that will happen that will open this field of energy and portals, okay, around Mother Earth. Okay. I was there for many months, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm holding this energy, and I'm hoping that somebody's going to come. And usually, in my humanness, when I get to the point when I feel like I'm alone and I'm really struggling, and it's just like, you know what, this is too hard. I don't want to do this anymore. Something happens, almost like gospel. And to give you one simple example, not only was it the Galactic Federation, the Avatar, it's been Kuan Yin, it's been Mother Mary, it's been White Buffalo Calf Woman, predominantly the female aspect of creation.
Okay.
To give you an example, I was playing one day and to probably 50, 60 people. And this woman walks out and she looks at me and she says, "This message isn't for me, it's for you." Okay. I said, okay. And I'm in that space, I'm really grateful to be able to do this, to help people and in my perception. And she said, there was this woman, long black hair, who had a white buckskin dress on. She says, "I don't know who this is." And she said she was placing a white feather on everyone's heart in that room, in that pyramid. And I knew what that meant. She was tuning, that's the White Buffalo Calf Woman of our cultures, who was laying a white feather of purity and shifting the vibrational frequency of their hearts. And I can tell you 5 more of these that have happened. But this is what happens when we surrender into, and I'm going to share, this is where Mother Nature came in, but I'm just going to very briefly just touch it. There was a song that came through this woman who connected me to Mother Nature. And the lyrics were, seeing is believing, is what we believe. She said, what if believing is seeing? Flip it, shift it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We've had this mindset and perception by those who have sort of led this journey that it's all hogwash unless it happens and you see it.
Yeah.
Why not open your heart, open your mind just for a moment to let it in?
Yeah, because if you see what's happening as love, I mean, if you believe whatever is happening for love, then you see that everything is happening for love.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you don't enter into something that isn't life-giving to bring love to it. Okay, it's like I said, if a guy is on the side of the road beating his child, do you hang him, throw him in jail? Well, that's one perspective. Or do you really meet that person and really hold a space of love? And that doesn't mean that it's going to shift them. It may not be their journey. But I promise you, I sense, it is my knowing, that if we hold that level of love for another human being who really didn't have it, I believe will shift that person like that.
And that's what it's all about. It's about believing in the frequency of love.
At least that's based on my experiences and what has happened to me. And this whole next book is all about these things.
Does the book include something about what's going to happen in 2030?
Well, 2025 is really what's going to happen in the next few months, in the next 16 to 18 months.
Yeah.
You think what's happened so far has been challenging?
No.
It's a picnic.
We're going to wish we could go back.
No. Some will.
Yeah.
Because of fear. Because they don't truly open their heart. Does that mean they're any less loved by that which created all of this? No. It's like, and I'm not particularly Catholic. I'm not Hindu. I'm not Buddhist. I'm omniism. And even as mother and father both of creation said, don't stop at me. Keep going. And I forgot what I was going to say.
2025. What's going on?
Oh.
Come on, give us the deets.
That basically we've entered into a love-based world or a fear-based world. You have to choose. What do you wish to create?
It's the same world.
Well, it's actually splitting. It is splitting, and that's a whole nother conversation about cities of light, healing. It's like the way that I help people understand this is because if you think for a moment that we could have exponentially in less than 60 years tapped into such levels of technology on our own, I just want to chuckle.
Yeah.
Because we had how many millions of years or hundreds of thousands of years prior to that, we were just boom, 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 and all of a sudden, whoosh, we just did this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I believe there were non-terrestrials. There were other, just as all indigenous cultures say. You look at every single, I don't care which one you look at. Every single one of them, from Australia to the Aboriginal to the Cubans to the Mayans, what did they draw on their carvings in the walls? That which looked like spacesuits. Egypt.
Yeah, something came down from the sky.
You know, and people...
Hindus drew Vimanas.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
and the same turtle man that's drawn in the Yucatan Peninsula is drawn, is on the statues of Bali.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and it's believed that the seed of civilization started in Ethiopia, but that's a whole other conversation. That's literally opening to me, and I can't even begin to speak about it yet because it's for me, it's part of the next story, part of my story.
But what's going to happen in 2025, Kevin?
Well, what's going to happen in the next few months is there will be, it's already started.
Yeah.
There's going to be a major exodus of people leaving this planet.
The planet.
Yeah, leave the planet. Leave their bodies.
Die.
Yeah, death. Again, is it a good thing, bad thing? It's all on how you perceive it. Okay? It's almost... I hate to say it, because what this does oftentimes is send people into a frenzy if they don't hold it from a bigger picture. Okay? Is there a reason why everybody left Bali and everything shut down here? Absolutely. Because the Balinese people were out of balance. So is Mother Nature here. And that's a whole nother conversation where she has come through 5 or 6 people, and she has come through me directly to help me understand what this means. And that people had to return back to her, back to land, back to the elements, so that what's coming next, we can hold this level of groundedness within that level of love. See, because one of the things I learned in my near-death experience, you will know the level of darkness equal to the level of... You will know the level of light, so that you'll know its wholeness. What is Bali all about? It's balance. They worship the light and the dark equally. It's balance. But they were out of balance, and so is this land. But it's coming back into balance because Mother said enough. And again, there is so many aspects that are playing into this, from otherworldly, other dimensions, Mother Earth, our humanness, that what's going to happen is this clearing has to happen. From a place of love, not fear. Because if you believe this is all you are, you miss the point. And what it's asking us to do is, how do we really love one another and create from there? And people all afraid that, people aren't going to come back to Bali. I've seen it. They've shown me the visions. There are going to be people coming back here in mass, more than what they'd even understood before. And in different parts of the world. That's why many of us have traveled to different parts of the world. I've met many people on the same journey with similar experiences. Why? Because I believe we're acupuncture needles on the surface of Mother Earth. There are those of us that hold that level of light and love just by our mere presence. And it's in each of us. And the people will come. But what they're going to be doing is they're coming from their heart. I don't understand. I can't navigate this. Please help me. And it's from a place of innocence. That's when Bali and all of these places around the world, that's why pyramids, I believe, are everywhere on planet Earth. It's the matrix of love. They told me it will be activated, just like the shafts of light I was telling you earlier. I'm asking Spirit, oh my God, I can't do all of this shit. It's too hard. Would you send help? This woman from Hawaii and her husband and her young son, that's all they're doing is traveling around the world. I've met many of these people, activating shafts of light.
Nice.
These frequencies, And when she drove by the pyramid, she had no clue where she was going. She knew she was supposed to be in Bali. Same way I got here. I didn't know why I was coming here. Is it a tropical, beautiful place? Yeah, big whoopee doodle. I've been to them all over the world. Why? But she drives by the pyramids of Chi, and she said, I'm traveling with my son and my husband, and we're activating the shafts of light. I could see some of them that are activated here, and they aren't. This is my job. And we did ceremony, we did these things, these activations, and she says, it's clear now. But it's just a process of what's happening. So, will there be a major exodus? I believe so, yes. But it's from a place of love. How do you take what happens and love that much more from learning? Entering into that. Again, is this good or bad? What lens are you going to look at it through? I'm not enough. I'm afraid. I'm all of this. Some will experience that. It's their journey. It's their soul's journey. Okay? It's just like Jesus said, Scriptures, invite them in. If they're not ready, love them, but knock the dust off your sandals and move on. But love them. It's the same thing that happened to me with the vampires in Italy. I was in that space of love that it blew me wide open, and there are vampires all around me. And I could see it, because when this happens to me, it's only happened 3 times, that I could see literally through their skin and who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh my God, my partner's with me. What do I do? Because I was kind of afraid for her safety. And I said, we need to go off to the side room and pray, to open our hearts, because mine was blown wide open all day.
Yeah.
And I shared a little bit of that. And when I went into the room, you know what I heard? Send the light out before them, before you. Envelop them in the light and love. But love them. Do not harm them. Were they evil? Well, you bet they were from some perspective, yes.
Yeah.
And that's when Creator said, the founder will die in 6 months. It will shift from the dark to the light. Guess what happened 6 months to the day? This man died.
Wow.
So these are the things that have happened. This is what's going on behind the scenes. And this vaccine baloney, is it real? Yes. It's man-created so that it can create a diversion from what's really going on. Because if you're caught up, sucked into this, oh my God, it's a vaccine. Oh my God, we're going to die. Yeah, okay. So what? Doesn't mean you shouldn't do what you should do. That comes from your heart. Speak up. Say, no, this is not what humanity wants. We want to create a place of love. You have to end. God says, creation says, I let it all happen. And I love it all. So
this is like the forest fire that ends the old and
It's
actually
perfect.
is the birth of the
it
new.
is. It's perfect. It's a beautiful analogy, a beautiful metaphor.
Yeah.
How does a forest actually regenerate itself?
Yeah.
One is forest fire,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is death and decomposition.
Yeah.
Because in that decomposition, it creates other microorganisms that needed that to happen in order for it to become a part of this.
For it to actually grow and become what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's just like the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's the alpha, the omega. Can we grasp all of this? No. It's like Vivekananda said, it's like trying to measure the ocean with a measuring cup. It is to love the mystery and our part in it.
Yeah. That's powerful stuff. That is powerful stuff.
And what it's all taught me. How do I treat you and him in a better way?
Yeah.
How do I hold my family, the belief systems of the world? How do I hold that from a place of love? Because it's the thing that it's the phrase that we use in indigenous cultures. All rivers lead to the same ocean. Call it what you will. You know, it's
the ocean of love.
Yeah, it's what created all of this.
Yeah.
Now you can stay and suffer and be in pain, which it's going to be some people's journey.
Of course.
But that doesn't mean the rest of us should love them any less, or to hold them in that field. Okay.
And we get to choose if we want to live in the world of love or if we live in the world of fear.
My belief, based upon what I have seen and experienced, there will come a moment in all of our lives, in one lifetime or another, that asks us, do we wish to stay and help others? Or is our work done here? And it's time
to go.
Yeah. It's what's called a bodhisattva. And then, as Mother said to me and Father said to me of creation, go beyond me. That's what you seek. And I'm still trying to comprehend this, but as these experiences happen, there is a remembering, an activation within me, that knows this as truth. Not as a mental construct, but as truth. You know, it's like I wrote, The only way we really know is we send ourselves out to come back. It's like I wrote, sitting on the edge of the pond, what did I see? My reflection. Not from a narcissistic point of view, but from creators.
I go out and I look and then I see.
I am you, you are me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's all been designed from love.
I hope that has touched you in a way that was really powerful and really deep. And I feel like there's points in there that I'll need to go back and just listen to again and like ponder again, because I see it. It's it's as it's going through. I'm starting to see both sides of what's actually happening.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to think that is the process.
And if you can see it, it is within you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's powerful. It's a shift of frame of reference and mindset into something greater than me as an egocentric
me
or human-centric point of view.
There's such a tiny little window. There's such a tiny little view to think me, I, this.
But don't get me wrong.
According to me, it'll seem
this
bad.
has been given to us as a gift.
Yeah.
Truly has. Yeah. So
amazing.
hopefully that makes sense. And that's one of the things that I know. And I'll end it with this.
Yeah.
We're out of time, aren't we?
We are all the time in the world, but
So, what was I going to say?
you gotta end it with this love.
Yeah, there was something else. In this moment, know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
And what a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So, I mean, I could go on, but this is really the gist of it, at least through my lens and my understanding. And, it's funny. It's interesting that I remember a joke where before I even tell you this joke, I believe karma and all of these things are ending for some.
Ending?
Ending. It's done.
Really?
Doesn't need to be used any longer.
Okay.
But
how?
There was this. There was a saying or a joke that said something to the effect, be careful about talking shit in this lifetime because you're going to come back as toilet paper in the next. But yeah.
You're just talking shit to yourself, basically.
Exactly.
You're talking shit to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, when we treat people with dignity, love, compassion, or hatred, who do you think that's really affecting?
You're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah.
By being in that state.
Or an injustice.
Or an injustice.
Yeah. And again, the other part of that is, if I believe, as some do, and I don't any longer, because I believe it's time to transcend duality. But if you're of the mindset that you believe truly in karma, and for some people that's their journey of this lifetime, if you truly believe that there is karma, and you know this, and you know if I treat you like shit, you're going to come back and do the same to me, what do you think I'm really going to do?
Be nice. Love.
Bingo.
Love. Love. It's easy. Just love. You know where you are, right where you're supposed to be. Just love.
Experience.
And when you're meant to go, you're gonna go.
Yeah.
No.
Can you? Yeah. Just know that everything that has been given is a gift. And it doesn't mean you won't feel the pain at times. It doesn't mean it's part of being human. But eventually,
it leads somewhere.
Even that will pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what it took me 20 years to understand, I now know that it only takes mere moments for people now. Because that field of energy has accelerated and has shifted.
And because they have people like you who've gone through it to actually kind of guide them through the process in a way that's much quicker.
You asked me the question, what is my purpose?
Yeah.
I truly believe that's my purpose.
to guide people through that
to
process.
guide people, and also for me to remember.
And you're doing a great job.
Yeah, I don't
Doing a
need,
great job, Kevin.
I don't need accolades.
Yeah.
It's really about if one person whose life comes into mine,
Yep.
it touches them, because I know it also does the same to me.
Yeah, because you're doing it to you. You are that person.
Yeah.
You know, you're always helping yourself.
Yeah.
And if more of the world starts thinking like that, if this is what we have to go through for more of the world to reach that state of mind and
Why not?
live, why not? They live more of our purpose, more of our mission, just understand the important things of life, which is love.
Yeah.
You know?
When you say the important things, it's subjective until I believe you enter into that source energy.
Yep.
And then you get to see it all, as
Yep.
Shakespeare said. This is all a play.
Yeah, then it all just goes back to love.
What do you want to participate in?
Yeah,
Now you have true choice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, what part do you want to play?
Yeah.
And which world do you want to live in? The love world or the fear world? And that's what we'll talk about next time. I think that's something that we really need to touch on. The love world, the fear world. We love you. Don't stay in a state of fear. Go find that love. Go find the things that are important to you. We love you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, and I'll share one last thing.
Yeah.
How do we do that? It is by meeting the parts of us that are not at peace. That's how we start. So we'll leave it at that.
Amazing.
Thanks for listening, and
Love you all. Okay, and I love you.
love you too.
Thank you guys. Bye for now.
Thanks.